This forecast update effective around 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday, November 25th, 2013. And guys, we've been waiting to do this update, waiting to see what this area of low pressure was going to do over here in the Gulf of Mexico because there's so much uncertainty with what this system could end up being. We've been waiting to see it finally try and get its act together, and it looks like it's happening this afternoon. Been watching the satellite loops for most of the day, and convection has been slowly increasing. Switch you over to the infrared rainbow satellite loop, and as you can see, anytime you get the oranges start to pop up and the deeper orange, this is a clear indication that convection is starting to deepen. We've got some heavy to moderate rains moving through northern Louisiana, moving through Mississippi, Tennessee, and this is all going to be spreading off towards the east, creating a nightmare of travel plans for people traveling for Thanksgiving. Guys, pay attention to your local weather forecasters, Weather Channel, whatever. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it, but this has the opportunity to become a formidable coastal storm up here over the northeastern Thanksgiving, guys. Nobody can tell you for sure what this thing is going to do. We can only show you what the models are showing us. That's why we watch it in real time, because this time of year, things can change quickly, and folks living along the panhandle should prepare themselves for the possibility of a severe thunderstorm outbreaks as a squall line could develop, and there could be some winds in these thunderstorms of 50, 55 miles an hour, and isolated tornadoes cannot be ruled out. Guys, even though this is not a hurricane or a tropical storm, this is not something to mess around with, so please stay tuned to the forecast. Those are for the non-surfers. For you surfers, here's what it's looking like, guys. We're going to take a little closer look, and by no means, if you're not a surfer, doesn't mean you can't follow the forecast, but we'll take a little closer look now and zoom in. Same infrared loop, but it looks like the area of low pressure now is just to the east of the Texas coastline, but look down here towards the tip of the Yucatan Peninsula, because on the surface we've got a strong southerly southeast flow setting up for the eastern half of the Gulf of Mexico. Buoys are already clocking up towards the Panhandle or northern Gulf, east-southeast, 25 to 30 knots, and seas have built already up to 10 feet. The direction is still out of the east-northeast, but I'm watching the buoys to see the direction switch. It should switch any time now to east-southeast. Now, the question's going to be for the Panhandle surfers is, when is the winds going to clock offshore? Right now, at this moment, it's looking that it's going to be Tuesday afternoon, probably around 12, 1 o'clock before the winds switch offshore. Unfortunately, it looks like the big blow offshore is going to happen all night Wednesday night, and you may have a little background surf Wednesday morning when you wake up. I hope that's not the case. I hope you have killer waves all day Wednesday, but just trying to be a little realistic about it. But what could end up making this storm or system a formidable storm off the mid-Atlantic or northeast is deep moisture is starting to plume in here out of the southeast, and you can see how convection is starting to band in here. So guys, this again, it doesn't take a hurricane to wreck your plans, a tropical storm to wreck your plans. This can cause just as much effect as heavy rains could set in. When we take a look at the radar, you can see that moderate to heavy rainfall, again, like we talked about, is moving off towards the northeast through Louisiana, northern Mississippi, through Tennessee, and all of this is going to be spreading and turn into mainly a rain event along the east coast from the mid-Atlantic down into Florida, and then once you get north of the mid-Atlantic, you start to get into possibilities of some heavy snowfall. But we're really excited about the upcoming surf forecast. Let's take a little closer look, if you will. Bear with me 1 second, of the visible on this. And as you can see, anytime you start getting that deep white or that white that looks almost like cotton ball effect, guys, this has the opportunity to become a very strong coastal storm. And, this is how the perfect storm set up, guys. This is exactly how the perfect storm set up. Not trying to hype it, but anything goes. Here's what's going to end up happening. It's going to move up towards the mid-Atlantic and off towards the northeast, basically in the same position as this area of low pressure that moved in here yesterday. This was all part of the frontal system, all part of one system in here, wrapping around counterclockwise direction, and here's the front pushing off. High pressure building in behind. Now, once that low pressure system moves up towards the north, high pressure is then forecast to build behind it. This is going to be part A of a possible surf alert coming first week of December for the southeast coast, more than likely all the way down into South Florida. We're going to show you the setup on that when we switch over to the models here in just a second. But let's look at the East Atlantic so we can set this up for you on how this is going to be possible. Look out here towards the East Atlantic. You can already see a counterclockwise motion in here. See how this is just kind of spinning in a counterclockwise direction? Okay, well, here's Puerto Rico over here, Virgin Islands, Barbados, all in here, over here to the bottom left. And as you can see, this little counterclockwise rotation here, models have been hinting for the last 4 to 5 days that an area of low pressure is going to develop in here. And this is going to create a northeast fetch and a northeast flow that's aimed at Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands in here. At the same time, coming off the east coast of the United States, we're going to have high pressure. Bermuda is located right over here. Let me bring my cursor. Hold on. There it is right there. Bermuda is located right in here. High pressure is going to extend all the way out into the Atlantic on this back side. So you're going to have the gradient and the fetch, northeast fetch from high pressure coming off the east coast of the United States out here towards Bermuda, and a northeast fetch on this side of this low pressure. And it's going to persist, at least the models are suggesting that it's going to persist for about 4 or 5 days. So much of the Atlantic is going to have a northeast wind flow for about 4 or 5 days. And there are some times where some of those winds could get up to 40 or 50 knots in a pinch gradient. Here's what it looks like in the models coming up. Here's this area of low pressure on Wednesday moving up towards the mid-Atlantic. On Thursday, Thanksgiving, it moves up over the northeast states in here. Real pinch tight gradient in here with high pressure pushing it off towards the northeast. So very windy conditions. I don't know about Macy's Parade or not, whether or not they're going to be able to fly their balloons. Right now, it doesn't look like it. When we move you into 72, you can see that it moves more off towards the north. High pressure now building in near the mid-Atlantic, creating the winds back to the northeast. Northeast winds setting back up on Thursday afternoon, Thanksgiving Day, and looks to start to blow hard. But if you look over here to the right now, you can see that area of low pressure, what we were just talking about. And already look at the fetch here, northeast fetch. That's northeast winds, probably 10, 15 knots, all aimed at Puerto Rico and Hispaniola. Northeast winds coming off the mid-Atlantic coast in here towards Florida. When we move you out to 96, longer fetch, northeast winds off the backside of the low pressure aimed at Puerto Rico and Hispaniola. Moving you out to 120, which this would be Saturday. This would be the 30th. Again, northeast winds, longer fetch, starting to see a little pinch of the tightening of the gradient up along here from the Bahamas all the way up in here towards the North Atlantic. Area of low pressure, northeast winds, all aimed in here at Puerto Rico and Hispaniola. Hate to sound like a broken record, but that's what it's looking like. And then taking you out a little bit further out to Tuesday, although that main area of low pressure that was spinning in here has now moved off towards the northeast, the GFS is hinting that another area of low pressure just northeast of Puerto Rico and Hispaniola is going to end up taking its place. Again, that's just the latest model runs, guys, but it's looking like the first week of December is setting up for some possible surf alert conditions from the mid-Atlantic all the way down in here towards South Florida over the course if this model run holds true. That's all we got for you for now, guys. Stay tuned for the next update.